Speaker, this government has decided to offer cannabis for sale in only 6 of 52 municipalities across this province. This leaves many people in rural Nova Scotia unable to easily access cannabis. For some residents in Cape Breton, the nearest physical sales location is over 90 minutes away. The solution for this, according to the government, is home delivery during online sales. Despite the recent announcement regarding rural internet, online purchasing is simply not in the foreseeable future for many residents in Nova Scotia, in rural Nova Scotia particularly. The question is, for Nova Scotians in rural areas without reliable internet access, how does the minister propose accessing cannabis? Or are these Nova Scotians simply not a concern for her?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Damn it.
Thank you. I would like to refer that question to the Minister of Justice.
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the question from my colleague, the Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, we spoke about this extensively, both publicly and here in the House. And the mediums for access to cannabis are provincial in nature. The limit around numbers of retail stores is based on a business plan, Mr. Speaker, that anyone going into business would apply. What I want to share with my colleague is, yes, we recognize the limitations of high-speed internet, but my colleague would know that many Nova Scotians, in the absence of quality high-speed internet, often go to core communities in their day-to-day travels, and the ability to access cannabis online with home delivery, Mr. Speaker, is an element that Nova Scotians recognize and have asked for. The survey identified, Mr. Speaker, the need for that online preference. So, Mr. Speaker, cannabis will be available to Nova Scotians. Nova Scotia will be ready on July the 1st, and we look forward to the opportunity to communicate this further.
The Honourable Member for Cape Breton-Richmond.
Mr. Speaker, my supplemental question will be again for the Minister of Justice. Most regular cannabis users in Nova Scotia, in rural Nova Scotia, will not drive 90 minutes for their pot. Nor will they wait for an online purchase to be delivered, and we're not going to look for smoke signals in the air either. They are most likely going to continue to access the black or grey markets for their cannabis. The NSLC business plan states that one of its priorities is to provide a safe supply of cannabis to Nova Scotians to help eliminate the illicit market. But this distribution model will only promote it in certain areas. Does the minister, the Honourable Minister, anticipate that poor access to legal cannabis in rural Nova Scotia will continue to allow illegal sales to thrive?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would say that the medium used and presented for Nova Scotians to access cannabis is a very reasonable medium. Mr. Speaker, I've said from day one, and it would be naive to think, as my colleague from Argyll-Barrington believes, it would be naive to think for any one of us in this House that tomorrow we are going to flip a switch and the illicit market is going to go away. We will transition, Mr. Speaker, from an illicit market to a legal recreational cannabis product of quality that provides safety to Nova Scotians.